With Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D Remake coming closer and closer, we're talking 3 months or so away now, I wanted to go and do a video talking about all the new things that we found out that they've added to the game thus far. If you like JRPG videos, top 10 videos, reviews, Dragon Quest videos, podcasts, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next video. Now let's begin. Alright, so I'm going to start off with all the Dragon Quest 1 changes and additions, and then I'll get into the Dragon Quest 2 changes and additions. So starting off, of course, with Dragon Quest 1, they added voice acting. As you can tell, everything sounds wonderfully voice acted. I really enjoyed the voice acting in Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake, other than, of course, there was the one town where they had, like, it sounded almost like a fake East Indian accent. It sounded really bad. But other than that, I thought the voice acting was really well done in Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake, and I expect about the same quality of voice acting here in Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D Remake. The next thing is, of course, the enemy encounters. You're going to be encountering more than one enemy at a time. In the originals, heck, in even the remakes of the original Dragon Quest 1, it was always 1v1. The Dragon Quest 1 story is the hero versus the world. It was definitely a lot more fair before because you were fighting only one monster at a time, but now it looks like you can fight up to like 5 or 6 monsters at a time, but another new addition will balance this out. It looks like we're going to have access to more like weapon skills and abilities, as well as spells that are going to help round things out a little bit. I feel like this is a good call because, I mean, why would the monsters have always wanted to only fight one at a time? I think it'll make things more exciting that way. And then you get to give the hero from Dragon Quest 1 a better arsenal, a better tool set to use in battle. It'll be a lot more exciting that way as well for players. Another great addition that has been confirmed so far is that Robin Hood, or at least the descendant of Robin Hood and his gang, are back here in Dragon Quest 1 in Alefgard. You've got a guy that looks exactly like Robin Hood. It might be Robin Hood, probably a descendant of Robin Hood, but you can see the gang members even surrounding him. So the gang is still going strong, and I can't wait to see what they've been up to all these years. I'm very excited for this. I'm actually more excited for the Dragon Quest 1 stuff than I was for Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake and Dragon Quest 2 HD2D Remake, because Dragon Quest 1 is my first JRPG I ever played, Dragon Warrior 1 back on the NES, and it just feels like I'm at home whenever I'm in the world of Alefgard or like Tantegel Castle and its surroundings. So I'm really excited to see the changes that they do here. Like, for example, we're getting extra quests from dwarves and fairies that was mentioned in the latest trailer. I'm really excited to see what they offer for extra content here, because Dragon Quest 1 is a pretty bare bones experience. It's super fun, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love grinding, so just hanging out in this world and grinding and talking to the NPCs and seeing what they're up to is enough for me, but it feels like these extra quests, this extra content is just gonna be the cherry on top of an already amazing game that I already love to death. Now, it's also been confirmed that they're adding new bosses and monsters to Dragon Quest 1. So far, I think all the monsters that have been confirmed to be in Dragon Quest 1 that are new are also in Dragon Quest 2. So they're taking some monsters that were only in Dragon Quest 2 and bringing them across to also be in Dragon Quest 1. So this is kind of cool. We're going to have a little bit more monster variety. I think that's why they did it, because there's not a whole lot of monster variety in Dragon Quest 1. Like, there's definitely enough, but it's nice to have a bit more variety, especially if we're going to be encountering more than one monster at a time. And then the fact that they're adding in extra boss fights, I love this, but I gotta say, it really tripped me up in Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake. Like, when I went to, it was called Todonki in the original version of Dragon Quest 3. I don't remember what the heck it was called. I think it's called Thedon in the HD2D Remake of Dragon Quest 3. But anyways, there was never a boss there until the HD2D Remake. So when I went there to do my thing, I went in there knowing full well that there'd be no danger to me. So I was like half dead when we already got there. And then, yeah, I went to do what you gotta do there and ended up in a boss fight. Started the boss fight out already half dead and definitely got my ass kicked. It's kind of nice seeing these extra boss fights. There was a lot of them in Dragon Quest 3 HD2D Remake, so I'm excited to see what we have for new boss fights in Dragon Quest 1. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with Dragon Quest 1, the last thing that we know has been changed or added to Dragon Quest 1 HD2D Remake, is that Princess Gwaelin is going to be a lot more involved in the plot. So in the original, Princess Gwaelin had been kidnapped basically before the game even started. King Lorik tells you to go and rescue his princess. You end up going to the Green Dragon's cave, beating his ass, and rescuing the princess, bringing her back to Tentacle Castle. But in this one, it looks like there's some flashback sequences where the princess and her army tried to face off against the Dragon Lord and his army on the bridge. It looks super badass, super epic. It sounds like the princess is a lot more ballsy in this and not just a damsel in distress, which I can appreciate. The other thing is that it's been confirmed that the princess can actually communicate with Rubis, who is the goddess that created the land of Alefgard. So that is super cool. I was honestly kind of expecting her to maybe join the party before the end of the game, and that's not completely ruled out at this point, but so far there's nothing telling us that Princess Gwaelin is going to join the hero. As much as it would be cool to have Princess Gwaelin in the party, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Now on to Dragon Quest II content, the new stuff, the additions in this HD2D remake. Starting off, of course, with everyone's favorite, the new character. That's right, not necessarily a new character, but new party member for sure. The Prince of Canik is known for being absolutely useless, probably the most useless party member in JRPG history, especially if you're playing the NES version of the game. This guy was just constantly either a ghost or in a coffin, depending on what version of the game you're playing. And now, his sister is going to be joining the party, and she looks absolutely cool. She's all spunky and excited, and I liked it because even in the original, when you play the original, she shows concern. When you talk to her in the castle, she shows concern about her brother. And so now I feel like it's perfect having her in the party because she can actually help protect her brother, care for her brother, and I feel like it'll probably balance things out a little bit better because Dragon Quest II is probably the most difficult of the franchise, especially if we're talking the classics. When do I think we'll get her? I think we will get her. There's a part in the Dragon Quest II Super Famicom remake, and I think it was in the Game Boy Color one as well, and the Switch remake. But anyways, in all the remakes, as far as I know, there's a part where you rest at the inn, I think it's in Baran, and the Prince of Canik basically gets cursed and will not wake up from his slumber. And you have to go and find the World Tree or Yggdrasil to be able to wake him up, and then he can come back and join the party again. I think that's when the princess is going to join the party. I think the prince is going to succumb to his curse or whatever, and then we will go back to Canik and tell the princess, and then she'll help us break the curse on her brother, the prince, and then stick with the party afterwards. I think that's what's going to go down, but I'm just excited to have another party member. It seems like she's going to be like part thief, part armamentalist, which is kind of cool. Super excited to have her in the party. Her design really looks like it was kind of lifted from Alina, who is one of my favorite, not only Dragon Quest characters, but favorite characters of all time. She's kind of got the same clothing layout. She's got that cape with like the cloth clothing, just different color scheme, and she's got Alina's spunk as well. I really like what they've done with the design of the Princess of Canik, because despite her being in the other versions of the game, she was just wearing a princess dress, if I remember correctly. She wasn't like all adventurer geared up, and I like the gear they're going with here. Really reminds me of Alina from Dragon Quest IV. Also, a new addition is it looks like the characters may have official names. Now, I don't know if this is 100% because I think it's still calling them by like Princess of Moonbrook on like the official website and all that. I don't think it's going by their names. So I'm assuming you can rename all the characters like you could in all the remakes and the original of Dragon Quest. Actually, the original, I think, depended on your name. So whatever your name was would change the names of your cousins. Because in the original Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, anyways, you were the hero. I feel like all the classics, you are the hero, and in Dragon Warrior 1 on the NES, whatever your name was actually determined what your stat growth would be. So everyone's journey was a little bit different, and I love that. That is one of the coolest freaking things they ever could have done, especially back then on the NES. Super ahead of its time. And then they kind of did the same thing to a lesser degree in Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest 2. When you name your character, it determines the names of your cousins. Now it sounds like they have set in stone names. The name of the Prince of Middenhall is Gawain. The Prince of Canik is Caradoc. The Princess of Moonbrook is going by Perenelle. And the Princess of Canik is Matilda. So I don't know if these are their official names or if they're just the placeholder names, but this is what it seems like their names are going to be. Dragon Quest II has also added new towns and areas, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a huge world map, right? You have the entire world of Torland to explore. I know that they've added new islands here and there, and obviously they're gonna have like those sparkle spots and secret areas, hidden areas like they did in Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake. So I'm excited to explore this world again in greater detail like I did in Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake. I also know from David Vink, when he got access to kind of play the demo quite a few months back, he said that all of Alefgard is there. It's not just Tantegel Castle and Charlock Castle like it was in every other version of the game. In Dragon Quest II HD2D Remake, we have Cantlin, we have like Garingham. It looks like it's all gonna be there, which is super awesome. Honestly, my favorite part in Dragon Quest II is when you finally get the ship, you find out that you are in the same world as Dragon Quest I. Like, that's also my favorite part in Dragon Quest III, man, is when you go to the underworld and learn that it is the world of Dragon Quest I, and it's just, oh my god, it just feels so good every moment I'm in Alefgard. But yeah, it's cool. All of Alefgard is going to be here in Dragon Quest II this time, so super excited to see how everything's progressed, because that's one of the coolest parts, is seeing what's become of Tantegel Castle since we've been here last. So now we're gonna go and get that same feeling with every freaking town that we know and love in Dragon Quest I once we get to Dragon Quest II HD2D Remake. So super looking forward to that. Super excited to re-explore those towns again and see what their futures hold. Now this one's a big deal. They added a reference to the Zenithian trilogy, basically confirming that we're gonna be getting Zenithian trilogy remakes, be they HD2D remakes or full 3D remakes. I mean, come on, please, Rubus, give us a Dragon Quest IV remake with Dragon Quest XI's graphics. I would literally die of joy. It would be the best thing ever. There's a place near where you get the silver key in Dragon Quest II, and there's a little lake there this time, and there was an NPC near the lake, and when David Vink spoke to him, the NPCs mentioned that there's a castle in the sky, in the heavens, and one day it'll land here in this lake. So huge reference to the Zenithian trilogy, not just Dragon Quest IV, but Dragon Quest IV through 6. And dude, I would love nothing more than a remake of Dragon Quest IV on modern systems. That's like one of my favorite games of all time. And last but not least, the thing that we know for a fact is coming, that's extra content in Dragon Quest II HD2D Remake. There's extra content at the end of the game or in the post-game if you've got a Dragon Quest III HD2D save file on the console that you're playing it on, or PC, or however you play it. My thoughts, personally, I think what we're gonna get is some emblem of Erdrick stuff, or Mark of Erdrick, whatever you want to call it. That manga takes place in the Erdrick trilogy, and I believe it's the descendant of the hero from Dragon Quest III. There is basically a dark version of the hero. There's a dark hero and a light hero, and I think we're gonna see some stuff to do with that. And the reason I think so is because when they were doing those presentations, remember, when they're showing off new Dragon Quest HD2D merch, they were showing like the red shield and the red sword, Erdrick's sword and shield in the red style instead of just the blue style, and that is kind of what the dark hero wears. He wears the red armor and the red shield, and so I think that's why they were promoting that stuff. I think that is the bonus ending that we're going to be getting if we have that Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake save file on our console when we beat Dragon Quest II HD2D Remake. Let me know if I missed anything down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on all this extra content. Are you going to be picking up Dragon Quest I and II HD2D Remake? Have you played and beaten Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake? I hope you have. I already dropped a big spoiler here in this video, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all, and I will see you guys in the next one.